Welcome back to my English Conqueror deathmatch. If you haven't seen the first game, then make sure you check that out on the channel before you see this one so you can see the results of that first one. And while I'm explaining what's going on, we'll follow my little scout and see whether I'm slightly more successful in my scouting this time. So these are two matches that I played on the ladder, one after the other, against the same guy on Rocky River, who turns out is actually a Conqueror 1. So I thought it was going to be really interesting to review these two games because I wanted to see what I changed and what I learned between the two, because it's not often that you get to play the same exact person, the same matchup, and adjust very, very quickly on the spot. So yeah, I thought in the end it looks like I'm doing the same scouting path, so I think from the last one I could have probably been a bit more aggressive, because here we go, now I've managed to go here, but I've cut him off, so now I can go back. So he's got all the sheep on this side, but it does mean he's not on my side, so hopefully I can get all of the sheep here and the sheep on my side. Looking at my build, I've gone for my classic opening, which is 3 on gold, 7 on food, and then up to the winery. I've also got the spawn here of backberries again, which is pretty good, so the winery can just plop in over here, and then I can also wall it in pretty easily. So the stone is here, so that the two short walls will block that off, and then if we have a look at the rest, then we can also just do one quick little wall here, or we can do double walls round the side. So yeah, so I'm not done too well so far on the sheep haul, but there's 3 there, so that'll keep me going at least for the time being until the winery goes up. So in the previous match they went for the Abbey, so that was the Abbey to TC, which is the classic English meta at the moment. So I was still a little bit nervous to double check exactly what they were doing, because obviously if you prepare for the king and you get a longbow rush, that's not exactly the best play. But I still go for the winery, because even if they go for longbows, I don't particularly like going for the hippodrome, because it just doesn't scale very well, and often I am not particularly great at doing a feudal all-in, so I find that generally having that backup of the eco boost that basically scales through the rest of the game is actually really good. So here I saw his scout and I'm trying to cut him off, so if you notice I'm trying to go across here and stop him coming into this area here on the map, because I want to limit as many sheep as possible for him, because I know he's got all the ones here and he's probably got loads, so he's got the lion's share of the sheep already, so I'm really trying to cut him off. But unfortunately this gold mine and this bit of wood are really causing me some hindrance there, but I decided to scoot around this way because there's nothing he can do here, and come back over to this side and grab what I can. So he's basically got more than half of the sheep, I'd say, and I didn't see that one there. Oh no, poor little sheep. So obviously with our god vision we can see he's gone for Abbey of the King. This is, I think, a slight misplay from me, that I definitely should have scouted him much earlier, because if he were going for longbows and he aged up in the next 20 seconds, I'd have no idea and I wouldn't be able to react to that. So obviously this is me being super critical, so if you notice, I'm not trying to sound negative of the way I'm playing, but viewing it like this, I find it really interesting to analyze what I could possibly do differently. Even when there's some things that I do well, then I think it's good to double check. So I think one thing I have done well here is getting this wood, so I try by age up to make sure I've got enough for a production building. Obviously my scout's going over now to see what production building I need, so I can't drop it yet because I actually don't know what I need at the moment. And I'm also a little bit nervous of running out of wood after the last match, so I'm trying to make sure that I have enough for houses, so I've already dropped the house at the front here. I've got quite a lot of gold and stuff like that, so my villager's idle. Here we go. So now going over, I think I'm just about to scout his base, and I'm trying to look from my vision so I can see exactly what and when and how I see. So there we go. So I see the king the Abbey of the Kings come up, and after playing so many games against English over the last month, I actually can recognise the landmark now, which is pretty nice. So there we go. I've scouted it, and I immediately dropped my barracks because I'm decided in this one my game plan was if he goes for the king, I'm going to defend with a couple of spears, and then go for longbows, and then I can basically defend and try to go to castle. Actually, at the end of the previous game, we had a little bit of a chat, and he was saying how he hates playing Byzantines into English as well, and he basically said that he thought I just went too heavily into spears, and so that just slowed me down. So actually I took that advice from him and decided to run with it. So my barracks is going down, and I'm currently working on getting my other buildings, and I've also built this short wall here to stop the king running around on this side. So I'm trying to be really defensive, and this time, because I did it a little bit earlier, I decided to get the walls here because it also secures these back berries, because I really wanted to make sure I had some extra food. If this runs out and I didn't have the wood to build groves, then I was able to basically keep my food economy going and get the oil coming in, because that oil would mean I could basically keep making longbows, so I've got defensive units, you know, as and when. So this is something I see pro players not doing too much when they haven't scouted everything. So here comes the king, and so hopefully, do I react? Yes, there we go, perfect. I actually managed to react, which usually I don't, but I am watching my base quite a lot. So my scout is going and exploring all of the fog of war. The pros don't seem to do this once they've scouted the important stuff, but I like being able to see actually where everything is. So yeah, I basically done that. The Merc House is going up now, a little bit slow, I think, but I did keep 3 on gold because I wanted to be able to get my upgrades. So I have Wheelbarrow, I have double Broadaxe, and I'm just scouting now to see what he's doing around his base. So he's walling himself in, so he's going up for his fast castle, I imagine, at this point. So my spears are chasing the king, and the scout decided to come and sit in here. Obviously, what he doesn't know is I've already walled in the side, and so there's nowhere for him to go now once these other walls come up. So his scout's going to cause some trouble, and I used the Arctoid defense to chase him off because I thought that would be fun. So far I think it's going much better than the previous game. I'm being a lot more defensive, closing off the front of my base, which anyone who knows from my previous games, walling the front of my base is a bit of a blind spot, and for some reason I never actually do it. I actually have no idea why, but, you know, that's the idea. So I decided here to pull off a couple from wood to go over to gold so I can start working on my fast castle, and I'm rallied onto food. So what I tend to like doing, which I've done in this game as well, is I rally to sheep, and then when I have the spare wood to drop groves, I start dropping them like this. So this game actually is going much more to plan that I can drop these before these berry bushes run out, and that allows me to get that oil income going. So again, not sure why I haven't got these in queue. Why I've got almost 1,000, that's definitely a misplay from me. These longbows should already be out, so that's something definitely that I need to improve on next time. The scout over here is burning this wall, trying to distract me, and if we have a little look at their base, so I couldn't see this, but I knew they had the second town centre. The gold is at the back, so this is, I'm glad I didn't go for heavy feudal aggro, because this would be really hard to do much damage to, because it's in the radius of 2 town centres around here, so I could maybe get longbows here and hit these, but apart from that I'd be in real trouble. The king also trying to cause trouble over here, but I'm walled in, so can't do anything to me over there, and I'm slowly making my way to castle. From the stats at the top, I'm actually a little bit behind my opponent, and I've clearly finally realised to put my longbows in queue, which that is definitely something I need to work on, is spending my oil more quickly. But I really like using the getting the eco techs early with the Byzantines, because it scales so well with the buff that you get from the systems, and I'm trying my best to work on my system placement. I get regular comments from some of my mates that I'm putting them in the wrong places, but I did get a straight aqueduct here, so that's better than having it all over at a crazy angle and blocking all of my building space, because this map's really good for being defensible, but if you put your aqueducts in the wrong place, you basically can't build anything. So obviously I've blocked stuff here, so I'm limited around this particular cistern, so having more space around the other ones is pretty good. So now that I'm getting close to my age up, I decided to try and push out a little bit because they're not pressuring me, so I wanted to see if I could see what they were doing and maybe if they were on the berries or any food or anything like that. So my scout, I don't know quite why it's sitting out here in the open. I probably should have been going around and seeing where they were, because if I had done this a little bit earlier, I could have gone in before this wall went up. But obviously the white tower's going up, and I'm also aging up at the same time. So this is something that I think is actually really good for me so far in this game, because now I'm able to counter those units. So if they go for crossbows, then I can build something else. If they go for men-at-arms, I've got time to build up some crossbows myself, and because of my mercenary contract I can also get Landsknecht as well. If we check my winery, I've already queued up the relics, so I've gone for this one over here and this one in the middle, and my units are over here, so I'm basically going to try and defend this one. That was my plan. I just want to get 3 relics because they're already in castle, so I'm hoping that I can get at least 3, and that's going to make my oil income go a little bit crazy. I should also be putting another longbow set in queue, but I hopefully, there we go, the first thing I try and do when I age up is veteran contract immediately, and then also get the monk in queue as well. So I've managed to do that. Awesome. And the guys over here are gathering up these berries and that sheep from the scout that they finished off. And my monk's just going to grab this. So at the moment, my military numbers are looking really, really strong. I did go for horses because I expected them to go for either crossbows or for longbows, but I think I also probably should have got an archery range by this point to also get sort of preemptive crossbows out just in case they start flooding men-at-arms. So at the moment I think we're just about to pick up this relic. Where is he? There we go. So he's running out here, and I've got my nice little unit, so my nice little army there, which is pretty decent at the moment. I'm getting all my upgrades, which I think is also pretty good, and in the last game, if you noticed, when I aged up I didn't have any on gold. This one I've managed to do my macro way better, so I'm not running out of wood, and I've also got loads on gold to get all my upgrades, because as the Byzantines you need an absolute ton. I haven't got a blacksmith yet. That's something I probably should have got up by now, and I do actually have the wood at this point, but I am dropping my system pretty close to when I had the resources. I do need to try and get better. So this is something I just saw it ping over here, so I'm assuming that they're going to grab this relic. So obviously I'm not using my scout again, which is a real mistake, but I did actually remember to separate my horsemen, because obviously if you select all your military in one group, they will always move together at the rate of the slowest unit. So if your cavalry is with all your infantry, they'll move really slowly. And I wanted to try and catch them like this because, there we go, if you Wololols like this, I can run out with my cavalry, and then my longbows are in position. He's not getting home with this one immediately anyway. So I've got 2 monks out now, so this one now I've sent straight over here to try and grab this, and then the other one is going out to get this one over here, because I thought this one's quite safe. I should be able to get this, and that would be 4 relics, which would be really, really nice. So yeah, just massing up now. I've got some Landsknecht coming out because I'm really, really nervous about those men-at-arms, and actually, because my scouting is absolutely terrible, I have no idea what he's doing at the moment. So if we go to Eco, obviously he's starting to take over me with Eco because he's got 2 TCs. Maybe at this point I could have considered putting a couple on stone to either get my cisterns to level 5 or drop a second town centre. So I could have maybe put a second town centre here on the gold and sort of walled it in, and then I could have secured that extra gold as well. But yeah, but I'm trying to build units. At this point I probably need more production with the sort of resources I'm starting to get. Because you get the production buff with the Conscriptio, I never seem to get enough, which is really a big problem. But I managed to get this relic, which is over here. I managed to get this one, and now I've seen his army. So he's got crossbows and men-at-arms, and I'm coming in because the Landsknecht do great against the men-at-arms and stuff like that. So I still don't have a blacksmith, but I managed to push back, so I do, hopefully, there we go. I noticed that I'm under the white tower, so I move away because I don't want to fight under there, because fighting under their defensive landmarks is not good. But all of my longbows can do a huge amount of damage, because this is basically my worst nightmare when 20 longbows turn up at my base, so I like returning the favour. I'm doing a little bit better spending my oil. I've just put some in queue. So if we go back over... So at this point, I should have noticed again that my gold was about to run out. So obviously that literally is going to end in a couple of seconds. But because I have all these relics, I can drop a monastery. And something I probably need to consider in future games is maybe putting some of these relics in monasteries first while I have a really heavy gold need, and then dropping them in for relics for oil afterwards. I don't know why this monk picked up the relic again. I have no idea. So he's just chilling with that. So obviously I'm not getting the income. That's not ideal. Is my scout still alive? Yes, okay, perfect. So I'm not using my scout, but I do have a scout, so that's, you know, maybe something positive. So this is where I think I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous, because I don't know what military he has. Obviously, from our vision, we can see my military is pretty strong at the moment, which is good, and I've got some cataphracts because I'm basically allergic to siege, and cataphracts can use their trample, and they can basically get mangonels and stuff like that. So, yeah, I do that. But I do want to see, if I switch to his vision, can he see me? Right, so neither of us can see each other. That's fantastic. So it's not just me then. So if we, this is something I need to work on as well, is either having vision from my scout, or putting down some towers and stuff like that, because I think that would be really helpful. So this is where I see him putting front farms, and I was really happy to see this. So I don't know why they're all shooting the farm, that's a bit dumb, but I decided to send my cataphracts in because they're super tanky, and I just thought even under the TC fire I'd be able to do good damage. And here, there we go, I've got the king, and we might as well have a look at this in the cinematic view. So they've got lots of men-at-arms, but I do have these longbows which now do a huge amount of damage, and I went for spears and horsemen, so the crossbows aren't actually doing a huge amount, because spears are kind of a soft counter to crossbows, so my composition here I think is much better. So I managed to clean that up nicely, and so now I'm doing quite well, and these cataphracts are running in. I don't know why I decided to fight under a fully garrisoned TC and White Tower. The fact that White Tower has 20 slots and it can shoot all of those arrows is just absolutely insane. But I'm trying to just idle his economy, but this is too greedy. I definitely shouldn't be doing this, because the English economy, once they can start pumping out those units, the longbows and the men-at-arms are so cheap. I need to be really careful. So I should have pushed in here, then pushed back, and not got caught under all this TC fire, because anything past here is where I start taking really heavy damage. I am out on this mill here, so on the double berries. So again, I probably should have started securing this up. So dropping some little walls down the center, maybe dropping some walls down here, because I could basically secure my whole side. I am on stone, so I can't remember if that was to get level 5, because I think I needed more room for production. So I'm dropping a couple of stables here. And I've got a monastery, and I'm just holding this relic, obviously, because, you know, why would I need to put it away and get all of that gold from it? But it does look pretty cool. There we go. I just remembered it's like he can hear me. So I'm slowly dropping down my groves, and I think actually in this game I did really well. Normally I go a bit too crazy with the groves and don't use the external food, because on this map you've got double berries here, you've got double berries in the center, you've got berries over here. So actually I don't need to I don't need to have all of those groves set up so early, and I can use it for units. And I'm actually spending my resources. So far, my macro in this game is way better, and you can probably see from the military. So he knows I'm coming, we're kind of scouting, but this is exactly what I should have done last time. See, all of these villagers, 38 villagers were idle because they didn't want to get hit by my longbows. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to happen. Because anything I can do to slow down his economy is because I basically idled the difference in our villagers, so that's really good. By this point, I should have siege, because I know he's going to go for siege, because with the White Tower, you can produce everything, and so everyone who's English produces siege from the White Tower, because then you don't have to make a siege workshop. So that's definitely something I should do, and at this point I should probably have some more mercenary houses, because it's not, I can't really spend it, because I've got 2 Landsconnect in queue. One of them's probably from the Golden Tower, So if I'd have chucked it over here, even though I don't want the Chuganu and stuff, you do get the 50% speed boost from having it around the neutral market, and I believe it's 6 tiles away. So what I could have done is linked up another cistern across here, and then had loads of production here, including those mercenary houses. I also do finally have a blacksmith, so I'm using that extra gold I've got to really start getting all those upgrades, because... And actually looking at it, I didn't realise I'm actually doing much better in getting all of my military and eco techs, so that's really good, because I'm still starting to combat the eco even with this deficit, because if you think my food is actually quite a bit higher, the difference would be the wood, so food and wood together is roughly the same. I've got more gold because I think because of the relic possibly. I'm getting free stone, so stone we just ignore, and I've got the oil, which is free units, so... There we go, so a heavy shot from the mangonel there. So this is, I think, where I tried to do the charge, and I managed to get through, and that's that mangonel down, I think. So there we go. So yeah, they do heavy damage. If I had some sprinkles, that would be much easier, but now the cataphracts are in the back, and I think, unfortunately for him now, it's all ranged, and even though he's got crossbows against Varangian Guard, I've got a mixture of spears, Varangian Guard, and Landsknecht, so all of his units don't counter all of mine, and I have almost the same amount of longbows, so I think this is really good. This is where I probably should pull back. This is maybe a bit too aggressive, but I wanted to try and whittle these down as much as possible so I could do damage, because also I'm idling his food economy here, which is very, very good for me. So this is too much. I definitely shouldn't be in range, and then I see this mangonel and I very, very quickly retreat, because I don't want to have my army separated like this. But I am getting more army up here, and if we have a little look, I did wall in these berries, so that's also pretty good. One thing I did really well in this game, and I did much better than the last one, is actually capturing sacred sites, because what I have been advised to do many times, and what I'm trying to remember, is once I've got the relics, I've already got the monks, and I should shift queue them between all of the sacred sites. I shouldn't leave them on the sacred sites. This guy should maybe come over here and just hide, waiting for further instructions, but you get the gold, so obviously that's helping my economy, but now it forces him to come to me. So obviously I can't really defend this one. I probably want to drop a keep somewhere here to defend it, but he can't just stay in his base now. He's got 8 minutes and he has to do something, and even if he sends some of his units to go and decap, that makes my life a little bit easier, because I know he's going to be going that way. So if I go back to my vision here, again, I don't have a huge amount of vision, but I sent some horses round to raid, and luckily I managed to actually see his whole army, and I just so happened to move past here and catch his mangonel, which is fantastic for me. So then I also charge in for the second one, because villagers I don't care about, but it's under the white tower and I don't want to lose all of my units. But because I can see all of his military here, that's where I decide to shift, and you can see the cataphract front line, which I love these units. They're so expensive, but they're just so much fun. And, you know, why would you need siege when you've got cataphracts? So here we go, and they charge all the way through and straight to the siege, boom, 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 and then they're gone. And so then I'd send them over, because the mangonels are really going to be the bane of my life, like every single match, really. But so this is where his longbows are there, and my cataphracts now, I'm just sending them in to basically hit as many villagers as I possibly can. So even if he survives this fight, then I am starting to break down that lead. And he actually taps out. So looking back at this game, I'm actually amazed. I actually think I did pretty well. There's still lots of mistakes, and you can see the trebuchet sliding in there to get the white tower, but you saw it first, guys. I beat a Conqueror 1, so you know, my rank says plat, but I'm definitely conk. So I hope you enjoyed watching this game. I hope you've enjoyed my critical commentary of my own matches, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one for some more messy, chaos-filled action.